All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're going to run a high-stakes psychological audit on the people closest to you. We're pulling from a seriously fascinating piece of source material called the Sovereign Mirror, the high cost of hard truths. And look, this isn't just about friendship, right? It's literally about the architecture of your success and those hidden, sneaky forces that might actually be holding you back without you even realizing it.
So I have to ask, who is lying to you just to keep you comfortable? Seriously, I want you to really think about the people in your inner circle right now. We always kind of just assume that the people who make us feel good are the ones who have our best interests at heart. But what if the exact opposite is true? What if the comfort merchants around you, the folks who validate absolutely every excuse you make, are actually sabotaging your long-term trajectory? Well, let's break down exactly how this happens.
Section 1. The convenient lie.
So, we need to run a quick diagnostic check of your social systems, specifically targeting this completely invisible problem of cheap validation when we start letting our own standards slip. Imagine you're slipping. Maybe you're slacking on your physical training, or letting a bit of entitlement creep into your business, or even just repeating some toxic relationship loop. Well, the average person around you, they'll say absolutely nothing. Or honestly, worse, they'll tell you exactly what you want to hear. Stuff like, oh, don't be so hard on yourself, or the universe is just being unfair. And we love to think they do this out of empathy, but they don't. This is what's called passive betrayal. They're delivering a convenient lie out of pure self-preservation and, frankly, social cowardice. It costs them zero emotional energy to just validate your delusion. They're perfectly willing to sit back and watch your lifestyle or your character undergo this systemic rot just to keep the surface of the friendship nice and pleasant. Guys, this isn't kindness. It's a literal operational hazard. And this dynamic brilliantly illustrates the energetic path of least resistance in our social circles. Think of it like this. On one side, your blind spot meets a low-value acquaintance. They feed you that convenient lie which creates zero friction, but that leads directly to system rot. But on the flip side, when your blind spot collides with a high-value true ally, they deliver the brutal truth. The result there is sharp friction, it's uncomfortable, maybe even incredibly painful in the moment for sure, but it inevitably leads to a massive system upgrade.
Section 2. The cost of truth. Now, if we know that sharp friction leads to a system upgrade, why is it so incredibly rare to find? Well, to understand that, we have to expose the hidden damage and the extremely high cost of breaking those comfortable illusions. And that brings us to a core, uncompromising maximum from our source material. Real friends must tell you hard truths and not convenient lies. I really want you to anchor your understanding to this idea. This isn't just some nice, motivational thought on a poster. It is the definitive litmus test of absolute loyalty. But as you're going to see, telling the truth, it is far from free.
So the crucial piece of the puzzle here is understanding what we call friction capital. Delivering a hard truth is an incredibly emotionally expensive transaction. When a true ally decides to break your delusion, they are willingly burning their own social capital. They know your immediate, kind of primitive reaction will probably be defensiveness or anger or resentment, but they're risking your validation and the comfort of the relationship anyway, just to tell you what you desperately need to hear. Think about it. If someone is willing to endure your short-term emotional explosion because they absolutely refuse to watch you play small or compromise your potential, man, that is absolute loyalty. They value your long-term actualization way, way more than your short-term comfort.
Section 3. The Sovereign Mirror. Okay, so we know the cost of the truth, but how do we actually structurally integrate it into our lives? You see, human psychology is completely plagued by blind spots. When we get stuck inside our own cognitive storms, our self-monitoring mechanisms just completely degrade. We start writing these incredibly sophisticated, highly convincing narratives just to justify our own laziness, complacency, or even arrogance. And because of this, we desperately need an external prefrontal cortex. We need a real friend who stands totally outside of our emotional blast radius, someone who can look at our output metrics with cold, hard objectivity and act as a mirror that our internal defense mechanisms simply cannot distort.
Let's look at the clear binary here between a counterfeit friend and a sovereign true ally. The counterfeit, they feed your ego with cheap, instant validation just to avoid friction. But the true ally will willingly fracture your ego when necessary to protect your long-term potential. The counterfeit agrees with your excuses and totally validates your victim narratives. The true ally audits your inputs, calls out your compliance leaks, and actually demands accountability from you. The counterfeit tells you exactly what you want to hear to keep the room warm. The true ally tells you what you need to hear to keep your trajectory unkillable. Seriously, take a second right now to clinically categorize the nodes in your own network based on this exact comparison. It's eye-opening. Section 4, the active protocol. All right, it's time to transition from diagnostic theory into practical application, because knowing the difference between a counterfeit friend and a true ally is really only half the battle. Now we're going to build an elite truth-generating defense matrix. To operationalize this, the source material lays out a strict, 3-step, actionable playbook designed to fundamentally rewrite how you solicit and receive brutal data. Step 1, open the security clearance channel. Step 2, kill the defensive rebound. And Step 3, ruthlessly purge the enablers. Let's break these down one by one. Step 1, open the security clearance channel. Listen, do not wait for a massive crisis for a true friend to speak up. You have to proactively lower the friction cost for them. Sit down with the high-leverage individuals in your network and give them explicit permission to audit you. You've got to tell them directly, hey, if you see me getting sloppy, acting entitled, or accepting mediocrity, call it out instantly. You must give them full clearance to deliver brutal data with absolutely no filters. 10-second vocal blackout. I want you to pause for a second and just burn this phrase into your mind, because this is the absolute hardest psychological mechanism of the entire protocol. See, when that true ally actually takes you up on your offer and tells you a really stinging truth, your immediate knee-jerk instinct is going to be to fight back. And that leads us directly into Step 2, kill the defensive rebound. When a friend delivers a hard truth that literally makes your stomach drop and your ego flare up, you must enforce that 10-second vocal blackout. You have to completely suppress your Paleolithic fight-or-flight response. Do not explain yourself. Do not run a defensive counterattack script. You have to look at the information they just handed you with pure clinical detachment. Just ask yourself, is this accurate? And if it is, you override your ego right then and there, and your immediate response must be, thank you for having the backbone to tell me that. It's tough, but you absolutely must transform your defensiveness into clinical acceptance. Finally, we hit Step 3, ruthlessly purge the enablers. Take a hard look at the people in your network who continuously feed you convenient lies, the ones who cheer for your bad habits and help you rationalize your stagnation. You must recognize them for exactly what they are, an operational hazard. You cannot build a sovereign, unkillable lifestyle if your perimeter is constantly flooded with soft, comfortable malware. You need a ruthless system upgrade. Aggressively distance yourself from those enablers and anchor your primary loyalty only to the select, unyielding few who actually care enough to make you bleed for your own optimization. So, I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative diagnostic question based on everything we've just covered in this explainer. Are you building a comfortable trap or an unkillable defense matrix? Seriously, take a really hard look at your inner circle today. Because the truth will definitely cost you your comfort, but convenient lies, well, they're going to cost you your entire potential.